Hi, welcome to our channel. Today is August 17th, 2026, and it is day one of the trial of Nevada versus Dwayne Keefe D. Davis and the 1996 murder of Tupac Shakur. So, this is just a recap. If you want to see the full trial, it is streamed live on our channel. So, we welcome you to go over to our channel and please hit that like and subscribe button so you can get notifications about our streams and everything that's going on with A to Z Tunnel Vision Media. So here we go. Let's get into this recap. What actually happened today? So the attorneys, the defendant, and the prosecuting attorneys, they both delivered their opening statements. So the defendant, Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, who is now 63, he's the only person who was formally charged in the Tupac's unaliving. Most importantly, the prosecutors are not claiming that Davis pulled the trigger. Their theory is that he organized the attack, supplied the weapons, and ordered the shooting. Under the Nevada law, because let's remember that this happened in Las Vegas, Nevada, someone can be convicted of murder for intentionally helping facilitate an unaliving. The prosecution story, let's break theirs down. Their whole theory. So the prosecutor presented that the state's case is essentially it's a revenge unaliving. The prosecution says that Tupac and his entourage were at the MGM Grand after the Mike Tyson fight. Tupac and the others, they got into a physical altercation, a confrontation with Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, Davis's nephew. And Davis allegedly viewed this beating as of Anderson as something that required retaliation. Like we could not let this slide. So Davis and the three other men, they got together, they got into the white Cadillac, and prosecutors say that Davis obtained and provided the firearms and directed the attack. The Cadillac eventually pulled up along the side of the BMW carrying Tupac and Suge Knight. Gunfire erupted, and Tupac was struck multiple times and died 6 days later. The prosecution theory is, therefore, not simply that Davis was in the car, it's that Davis was the person orchestrating the retaliation. One of the biggest pieces of evidence is that Davis had it in his own words. This is probably the most important aspect of the prosecution case. Davis has made numerous statements over the years about what happened. Prosecutors intend to use the statements from interviews, his 2019 memoir, Compton Street Legend, and the 2008 police interview. Look, the judge previously ruled that the police interview and the memoir can be used in the trial. Y'all know that's huge, right? Because this is huge because the prosecution essentially is arguing this. We're not asking you to believe the theory, like a theory of what happened. We're asking you to listen to what Keefe D. Davis said himself. The defense then opened up and they said, look, we are not saying that Keefe D. Davis didn't say these things. Their argument is essentially this that Keefe D talks a lot, but that doesn't mean that that's what actually happened and that's what's true. The defense is attacking Davis's credibility and portraying him as someone who exaggerated his involvement for attention, money, notoriety, and storytelling. The defense emphasized that there's no physical evidence directly tying Davis to the shooting, and they are challenging the reliability of Davis's own statements. So, here's the central question, okay, to the jury. Where is the actual evidence that Davis ordered Tupac's murder? This is what the defense wants to know. So here's the interesting part. Davis is not accused of being the shooter. Like I said, the prosecutor believes that the people inside the Cadillac, including Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, DeAndre Freaky Smith, Terry Bubble Up Brown, all three of the other men who are now unalive. Anderson was long considered the primary suspect, but he's unalive. He's been unalive since 1998. Another witness has told investigators that DeAndre Smith, not Anderson, was the one that actually fired the shot, but Smith has been alive since 2004. Then you got the driver, Terry Brown, who has been unalive since 2015. So this creates an unusual situation for the prosecution. The alleged shooter is unalive. The other occupants are unalive. Davis is the only person from the Cadillac who can actually sit in the courtroom and hear the evidence against him. But y'all know who is alive? Suge Knight. That's right. So this is where it also gets interesting. Suge Knight was driving the BMW and with Tupac when the shooting occurred. He survived. He's on the potential witness list. But Suge Knight has repeatedly indicated that he does not want to cooperate and he does not want to testify. If Suge Knight does ultimately testify, his testimony could be one of the most significant, crucial moments of the entire trial because he was physically there when the shooting happened. So let's establish what happened on day one. At the end of day one, the jury essentially has two competing narratives. The prosecution, Davis was the shot caller. Tupac's beating of Anderson triggered retaliation. Davis helped organize the attack, supplied the weapons, and ordered the shooting. The defense. Davis is a storyteller, an exaggerator. His statements shouldn't automatically be treated as factual, and the state doesn't have solid evidence proving that he ordered Tupac's murder. The trial is expected to last roughly from 4 to 6 weeks with dozens of witnesses, and potentially they are going to take the stand. So, this is what my biggest takeaway is. Now, this is not just my opinion, okay? I am not an attorney, but here it is, okay? This largely comes down to credibility. Not just was Keefe D. Davis involved, because even in his own statements, they placed him in the vehicle. The much bigger legal question is, did the prosecution prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Davis essentially participated in or orchestrated the killing, rather than simply being someone who exaggerated his involvement? So that's going to be a battle for the jury to actually decide. So, what do you guys actually think? There were some bombshells that actually happened today. Let me link that into another video so that you can hear about the bombshells that happened today.